Hello everyone. So I wanted to share, in case it helps anybody, this project. I'm going to be turning this volume and expression pedal into a better volume and expression pedal. Right now I'm using it purely as a volume pedal. Use the expression input here. I'd like to put a switch in between, which is kind of perfect, that bypasses the volume so that if I'm using it as an expression pedal, it doesn't kill my signal. So I can, control parameters of pedals. So I just checked the resistance on a TRS cable, stereo cable, and the max resistance of the potentiometer that is affected by the pedal motion is around 78K, so it's probably like a 100K pot. This is like a trim pot that lowers the maximum down to like 68, I think it was. I think what I'm going to have to do, since most pedals, the pots that control different parameters are around 10K, I might have to install a resistor in series to a couple of the poles on this pot, and I might add a second switch then to either turn that off or to change the resistance of the pot. Progress report. I have the new inputs wired to the old board. I have a switch here which goes, this is when the volume pedal is active, this is bypass, just in and out without touching any other electronics. I have the new 500K pot installed, so it should have less effect on my tone, and I've also soldered in a treble bleed capacitor, simple treble bleed, so when you roll it down, you don't lose any highs. I'm in the process of wiring up the switch. I'm going to have one leg of the switch is going to have 27K resistors in parallel, with one resistor will be in parallel with legs 2 and 3 of the expression side of the pot, and the other resistor will be on legs 2 and 1 of the expression side of the pot, and the other side of the switch will have a 55K resistor, both two resistors in parallel, and this will effectively turn the expression side of the pot, which is its own independent leg circuit. It'll allow me to switch between kind of the stock 100K pot or the 50K which is what my modulation pedal uses. So yeah. One more thing, I may add another switch here. I gave myself room that would allow me to switch the polarity, so it goes from tip ring sleeve to ring tip sleeve, in case I plug in a pedal and it starts going backwards, so when I put the treadle down, it has the opposite effect that I want, but I might not do that. I do have all these double pole, double throw switches to use, so I may. Alright, so here is the modified expression volume pedal and the modified mod core. Right now, the switch is to the right, so that means it's in volume mode, so and switch it over to expression. So when it's into the right, it still works as an expression pedal, but it's kind of useless because the volume's down, it gets quieter, you really can't hear anything. So this is controlling the rate. Let's see. Boom diggity. I've considered, I was thinking about putting a switch in the Nux pedal so that I could switch between the rate or the depth. But because those pots actually function as just voltage controllers, the wiring would be kind of too much of a headache. So the only real solution is to put in a second input, in which case I would switch this one over so that this side controlled that pot and this side controlled that pot. But I don't know if I want another expression pedal on my board. So, I don't know. Probably leave it the way it is. Alright. Cheers. So one more thing. I used a linear taper dual gang pot in this because that pedal had linear taper. I don't love the way it functions as a volume pedal because of the taper. So I might replace that with an audio taper, and on the expression side change the resistor values. I use them in parallel, equal values. And if you change the values, it changes the taper. So I might explore with that so that this still sees linear taper and the volume is an audio taper. We'll see.